Fellas, AC here. Welcome to another review. Now, let's start 2025 with a full fragrance review of a fragrance which is 10 out of 10. I thought let's do it that way. I've already done my first review of 2025, which is best releases, designer releases of 2024, which you all appreciated. Thank you so much for your lovely comments and your support. Now, you might notice one thing today. I've changed the position of the lights. I just wanted to see how it'll come out. So absolutely let me know what you think of the new lighting position. The old position was giving me a lot of dry throat. So I was thinking to myself, maybe if I change the position of the lights, it'll not bother me so much. But I want your opinion as to how it looks. It looks a little bit different. It's more softer lighting, and just your little opinion would really matter. So let's start. I'm going to talk about Francesca Bianchi and her beautiful creation called Etruscan Water. I've already told you that this in my books is a 10 out of 10 fragrance. But let me walk you through this fragrance. I've already got a dry down here, so I wouldn't waste a spray. But when you first spray it, it's a fairly linear scent. It's got a little bit of development, but mostly it is linear. So when you first spray this fragrance, you're greeted with what is known as the green floral Chypre with leather elements. So normally Chypre fragrances are associated with sort of vintage perfumery. They have elements which make them smell a little vintage, little old-fashioned, just like aromatic fougères. The little difference, if you like, in these terminologies is that aromatic fougères normally depend on lavender to provide the woody aromatic style. Here in Chypres, they normally depend on the base. It's a more base heavy sort of a scent. The base will have notes like oak moss, ambergris, it'll have tonka or coumarin, it'll have leather. It's a base heavy sort of a scent DNA, if you like. It also has florals and fruits in the middle, just to make the transition from lighter aromatic notes to more heavier notes. That's how Chypres are designed. So when you spray this, you're greeted with that same DNA. It's very base heavy. It has a beautiful note of immortelle. It's centered around immortelle. Apparently, I do not know, but apparently immortelle grows wild in the Etruscan region. So the Etruscan region is the Lower Tuscany. So the plateau of Italy, if you like. So Lower Tuscany is where the Etruscans were, and that is where I think immortelle grows wild. Now, immortelle is not everybody's cup of tea. It can make people a little upset. They don't like the smell of immortelle. I love the smell of immortelle. It has a very distinct smell with a leathery camphorous facet. Very waxy. Not very waxy, a little bit waxy. Floral, yellow floral, hazy sunny with a leather facet. Love that smell. I love it. And that smell is accompanied by citruses, primarily orange and petitgrain with basil. So that's the greenness, little herbal greenness, but mostly immortelle. That's the center of the show. And then around it are some citruses and greenness, basil and petitgrain. So that's the green element. The other main player here is ambergris, white ambergris, to give the fragrance the woody dryness, if you like, along with vetiver. So vetiver is there, which is very dusty and dry, but doesn't come across as dusty. It comes across as dry. And oak moss. And oak moss is what, along with that vetiver and the basil and the petitgrain, gives that fragrance that barbershop feel. So it's almost like smelling a fusion of a green aromatic barbershop fragrance with a green floral Chypre all together. And the main floral is jasmine. Beautiful indolic jasmine. Like that smell, like the opening. And it stays like that for a while. Then the transition happens. The fragrance from green. So let me show you a landscape. So this is how it transforms. This is a landscape, which is what it reminds me of when it's first sprayed. It's verdant green with sunny brightness, which is coming from immortelle. And when it transforms into the same beautiful landscape, which is grand. But it has a sort of oceanic saltiness to it, and it also dries down to a woody sort of smell with prominent note of orange rind. Orange rind has a bitterness, bitter oiliness to it, along with the zesty, fruity quality of orange. And that's what you get in the dry down. And that's why I believe this fragrance is an absolute masterpiece. There's also a beautiful creamy radiance to the fragrance, which comes from orris root butter. And orris root is Francesca Bianchi's absolute favorite note. She's a champion when she works with orris root butter. And that radiance, along with the sunny sort of a dryness to the smell and the allure of, if I can put it that way, of Immortale, the alluring smell of Immortale creates magic on your wrist. And that transition picture that I showed you is how the fragrance transforms. And that's the fragrance. So, ups and downs. Now, before I do upsides and downsides, I'd like to tell you the basics. The basics is this house. I've been praising this house since late 2018. And this is the first time I'm reviewing a fragrance. Far too late, because I'm a massive fan of this house. And Francesca Bianchi is the perfumer. And she released this fragrance in 2019. And she's one of the most multifaceted, very talented perfumers. I have smelled many of her works and I'm a major fan of this house. Superb. So that's the basic done. 2019 release done by the lady Francesca Bianchi. Now, upsides and downsides. So Chypres will always smell classical, vintage or old-fashioned, some might say. Fine. But if you love fragrances, if you have experience with perfumery, you will realize that Chypres are one of the most amazing masculine fragrance families. So you have to like Chypres to like this one. It is old-fashioned. And because of the Immortale combining with the white ambergris and the basil and petitgrain, it gives off that old-fashioned barbershop smell, which can come across as really 40 plus. And that could bother some people. So you have to know this thing that this is a Chypre, it will have old-fashioned elements, number one. Number two, upside, terrific performance. This fragrance will last on your skin for at least 12 hours. So longevity, fantastic. Put 2 sprays, I always put 1. Put 2 sprays and it projects and projects and projects. The third thing is my most favorite upside. When this fragrance dries down, it is magic. Absolutely magical. It's that beautiful, bitter, orangey rind smell, slight oiliness with beautiful, salty brightness of white ambergris, with amazing oak moss and Immortale and vetiver. It creates superb scent DNA. One of the most finest and musks. I forgot to mention the musk. Musk plays a huge role in the end of this fragrance. It is a delightful scent. It's one of the most unique scent signatures using those components. I love this fragrance when it really dries down after about 5 or 6 hours. So those are the 3 upsides. Great performance, great smell, and it's a proper old-fashioned French-style Chypre. You must be up for it. Downsides. If you do not like barbershop smell, if you don't like old-fashioned scents, if you think lavender-based fougères are not your cup of tea, chances are you wouldn't like it. But do sample it and see if you like this one. It is slightly classical style perfumery. Yeah, so that's one. Next downside would be, where do you wear this? I can wear this because I love it and I have so much confidence in myself. I can wear this anywhere. But if you're not confident, or if you're a little reticent or a little bit hesitant about wearing something this classical, you might struggle to wear it. And it'll just sit there in your dresser. But once you fall in love with it, you will burn through this fragrance, even if you have 500 plus fragrance collection like me. So depends on how you take this fragrance. That's why I'm saying do sample it. Just because I've said it's 10 out of 10 doesn't mean you go and blind buy it. Please sample it if you can. So those are 3 downsides. Value for money, tremendous. So they come in 30 ml and 100 ml bottles. These 30 ml bottles will cost you anywhere between 80 and 110 pounds. Proper value for money. One of the best value for money fragrances out there. If you want something which enthuses you, is interesting, is complex, very high quality materials, couldn't recommend this enough. And tremendous value for money. Absolutely, without a shadow of doubt. Compliment factor. This one, depends. I don't think people will wear this sort of fragrances to get compliments. This is when you want to scratch that itch of wearing something which is art in a bottle, which is classical French style perfumery, which is going to give you something which no other fragrance has given you. The unique scent DNA, absolutely unique. There are not many fragrances that give me this sort of a try now, So that's where you bring this fragrance in. Compliment factor depends entirely. I've never received any compliments wearing this fragrance, and frankly, I didn't miss any compliments because I was enjoying the art of perfumery. Age groups, slightly mature, 35 plus. Seasons, 3 seasons, easily. So spring, brilliant. Autumn, absolutely brilliant. Winter, brilliant. So 3 seasons quite easily without even thinking about it. Summer, I wouldn't want to wear such a fragrance in summer. That immortale is going to really bother me. The camphorous, floral, hazy sort of a smell is going to be too much for me. But suit it to your taste. If you like it, you wear it. I've covered all aspects. How many marks am I going to give it? It's an open secret. It's a 10 out of 10 fragrance. And I'm absolutely feeling privileged to review a fragrance as good as this. So lucky I am to have this in my collection, to enjoy this, and to be able to review it with all the respect it deserves. What a fabulous fragrance, guys. I'm hoping you really enjoyed the review, fellas. Take care. Bye-bye.